Hello, Mooncrafters. Welcome. This is Craft of Moon. Okay, well, I'm back again, and I'm going to be talking some more about this Venezuela situation. And I just, again, apologizing for those that aren't on this kind of, if this isn't interesting, but I'm not being political with any of this. I just simply find that looking at the archetypes of the planets and their interactions is a way for me to distance myself from the barrage of the news and find a way to, just be a little bit more in center. So it's not about trying to find the rightness or wrongness of a situation here. I'm just, by looking at the planets, being a little bit more focused and centered. Hopefully that is helpful for y'all as well. And if not, feel free to just skip on by this video because I'm going to be diving into a number of charts and looking at the different planetary positions. I'm not going to do a lot of delineation in this video. I'm just simply pointing out some synchronistic planetary placements and kind of pondering those and maybe, talking about them a little bit more as time goes on. Or maybe you want to pick up the conversation and talk a little bit about what the placements might mean. I'd certainly welcome the comments below on the video. Also, just letting people know that I'm going to be starting another YouTube channel, and I'm going to be splitting off my short feed onto the other YouTube channels. So going to have Astrology by Ryan and Astrology by Ryan Shorts. I've become convinced that having two separate channels is going to be a positive thing for both channels, for both streams. I get a lot of people to watch the shorts that I put out. I probably get, thousands of views on my shorts. I get in the tens and hundreds of views on my long form videos, but I get thousands of views on the shorts. And I think that from what I've seen, that having shorts on the same channel as your long form content can confuse the algorithm. So not trying to necessarily optimize for the algorithm in any way, but if there's people that are interested in the long form content that may not be finding it because the shorts are getting so much traction, then I just want to be able to open that up as an opportunity for people. So feel free to go to Astrology by Ryan Shorts if you like watching short form content. And otherwise, just you can stay here on the Astrology by Ryan channel to see the long form content. All right, so let's get into things. I'm going to bring up this the other screen here with the charts. And first of all, I'm going to be taking a look at about a minute and a half of the conversation here with Heather Cox Richardson. She is a historian. She's got quite a big following. The video we're going to watch here has over 1 million views, so it's within the mainstream of the conversation that's going on. And just want to kind of like listen to a little bit of what she has to say, and then I'm going to tie that into the chart, and we'll take a look at the chart a little bit based upon what she's saying. So let me go ahead and turn her on for a few minutes, and let's see if we can hear the sound.
Light up these freaking phones, because I think if you've listened to me before, you've heard me say that we're facing a crisis. Because Trump has gotten more and more cornered. And as I've been saying and wincing, the next 3 months, which I said 3 days ago, are going to be hideous as he and his people try to maintain control. Because it's coming down to the line here. Either they are going to grab control and turn the United States into a dictatorship, or the American people are going to take our system back, and we're going to make it based in the law again and not in personalities. And we're going to start to enforce the laws against corruption. And we're going to enforce the Constitution. And with luck, we're going to make this country and its rules and laws more responsive to everyday people. You can see that building. One of the reasons I highlighted the Mamdani speech yesterday, a lot of people said, well, we don't know what he's going to do. And I'm like, 100% we don't know what he's going to do. And I'm always a skeptic when a politician says they're going to do anything. But the language matters. The fact that, he's talking about using a government for good anymore, stopping corruption and so on. This is the moment for the next, like I say, 3 months is the time I give it. I'm thinking we're going to have an answer by May.
All right. So that's what I wanted to just point out. And it's really this 3-month timeline. And I highly recommend, if you haven't seen that video and you're interested in it, take a look at her channel. It's one of her most recent videos as of January 6th today. Watch the whole thing. It's not too long. It's about a half an hour. This clip I played is towards the end. It's around minute 27 to 28. And this 3-month timeline is actually really interesting. I'm not sure where she pulled that out, if she was using astrology. Let me just take a look and see. So the chart that I have in front of on the screen is the US chart on the inside, and then the outside is the transiting chart, and it's set for 3 months from now. So the beginning of April. And I know she said May, but she also said 3 months. So I'm just going off the 3-month timeline here. And let me see if this is showing the drawing tools. Yeah. Okay. They're a little bit kind of off, but anyway, so what you can see here is that in 3 months from now, we have this superior square from the transiting sun to the inceptional sun of the US chart. And the superior square was known as the aspect of decimation. It was said that the planet in the superior position was extracting attacks from the planet in the inferior position. In this case, it's the sun against the sun. It's the transiting sun against the inceptional sun. So this is the life essence, vitality that seems to ring through whoever the person is or organization. In this case is the country. So that's the life essence force of the country is being squared by its life force essence, its transiting life force essence. And that square, that superior square, sets up a critical crisis point. So it's interesting that she mentioned that it's a 3-month time period that we are looking at here. And that's exactly when we see this superior square from the transiting sun foretelling this kind of crisis of identity. With the sun in Aries, the sun is in its exaltation, its highest point of power. And the 13th, or that's the 14th degree, is close to the actual exaltation point of the 19th degree of Aries. So it's a very powerful sun in its transiting position. And it's applying what is often thought of as quite a malefic or very crisis-oriented aspect towards the inceptional sun. The other thing that I think is interesting about this period is the placement of Pluto. The transiting Pluto is almost coming into a conjunction with the inceptional south node. And this is quite striking as well. The south node is a point that's associated with karma, with fate, with surrender, the dissolution of things. And Pluto is coming right up close to it, but before it actually perfects the conjunction with the inceptional south node, it goes retrograde. So right up here is about as far as Pluto goes. It actually enters into the 7th degree, just like the south node is in there. And then it turns retrograde like right at the edge of it, I believe. So that is another really striking astrological condition that we have to think about in relation to this 3-month time period that Heather Cox Richardson is talking about. And then just again, pointing out that Pluto is transiting through the third house of neighbors. And we think of the neighbor nations that this power transformation is taking place in. And that is governed by Saturn, who is in its exaltation, was a very strong Saturn in the 11th house, which is the house of good spirit. And it's rejoicing bisect because it's a daytime chart and Saturn is above the horizon with the sun. So it's a very powerful Saturn governing the third house, within which Pluto is working on its transformative effects in the realm of neighbors and community. And we think of that in terms of nations, the neighboring nations and the community nations. So, that is pretty striking, I think, that's coming up in that 3-month time period. Let me pull up another video here. And I think this is the right one. This is going to be Rachel Maddow. And she's going to be talking on oil, and she's kind of like bringing into question even the fact that oil might be the cause of this, or the driver. So let's take a listen to that. Maybe.
If you've forgotten to get that special someone in your life a gift,
got an advertisement
well,
going on
Mint
here
Mobile
first.
is extending their holiday offer.
Do you believe they did this Venezuela thing for the reasons they say they did it? They said it was about fentanyl. That was their initial explanation. Even they now acknowledge, though, that fentanyl doesn't actually come from Venezuela. Then they tweaked that pretext to say, okay, it is about drugs, but it's not fentanyl. Okay, maybe that was wrong. It's about cocaine. Yeah, because if one thinks about crusading against cocaine, one definitely thinks about the Trump family. Am I right? But that was an awkward pretext, too, because even though some cocaine does come through Venezuela, experts say that cocaine is generally bound for Europe, not for the United States. So that's kind of a weird thing for us to be all fired up about them in particular. That pretext was then completely blown up anyway when Trump gave a pardon to the former president of Honduras, who really was convicted of trafficking more than 400 tons of cocaine, not to Europe, but to the United States. If Trump supposedly cares so much about a foreign leader being responsible for trafficking cocaine into the United States, why did Trump pardon a foreign leader literally convicted of smuggling hundreds of tons of cocaine into...
Okay, she talks about cocaine and everything there for a little while, and where I wanted to actually get to is I think about here. Let's see what's going on here.
And now Trump is recognizing her as the legitimate leader of Venezuela.
No, not there. Let's go over here.
So make that
here we
enforcement
go.
operation just serving an arrest warrant, as Marco Rubio would have us believe. What kind of law enforcement operation serving an arrest warrant like that ends with the arresting force saying, okay, now we run your country, and also we are taking all your oil? And yes, Trump does bluntly say we're there for the oil. We're there to take the oil. Are we?
Here we go.
Reuters had some really interesting reporting about that today, and I think this is going to turn out to be important here. Here's the headline from Reuters today. Quote, Trump administration has not consulted U.S. oil majors about Venezuela, oil execs say.
This is interesting.
Quote, the Trump administration did not consult with oil companies ExxonMobil, ConocoPhillips, or Chevron Corporation about Venezuela before or after U.S. forces captured the South American country's president, Nicolas Maduro, according to 4 oil industry executives familiar with the matter. That contradicts President Donald Trump's assertion aboard Air Force One on Sunday that he had spoken to all of the U.S. oil companies before and after Maduro's capture about his plans for investing in the country.
So what she's talking about is, there's all these, reasons that people are talking about. They've talked about whether it's drugs or, this drug or that drug. And then Trump's talking about the oil as the justification. And let me just switch the chart here because I think this is really, really fascinating. And this is the chart for the U.S. Compared to the time that the order was given to execute the operation. So let me find that over here. So that is this one. No, that's the capture. This is the court date. Yeah. So this is the one I'm looking at. Let me make sure that my drawing tools are still working. Yeah, they look like it. Okay. So this is interesting. So when we think about the motivations, one of the things that's interesting, and I talk about this in my class that's starting tomorrow with Synchronicity University, by the way, which there's still time to sign up for. Go to synchronicityuniversity.com/Ryan Hunt, and you can sign up for my course on the 5 cosmic catalysts. I'll be talking about Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto, and Uranus over the next 5 weeks, Mars being the first one. And I think that this situation with Trump and this whole Venezuela thing is a Mars condition. Like, we keep searching for the motivation. What happened? Why did this happen? And one of the things that I talk about in my class is how the archetype of Mars arrives at clarity through action. And so while some things, we might analyze a situation, but no matter, even when we analyze a situation, there comes a point where a decision is made within us and we take action. And often, not always, but it's not unheard of that even after we make a decision, once we start taking action on something, a whole complete set of other circumstances or reasons or clarity comes about. And it's actually through action that clarity starts to come. And with Mars moving into its cazimi here with the sun, Mars is just finishing its round with the sun. This speaks to this ambiguity of purpose and motivation. Right? Mars, the archetype of initiation, the archetype of motivation, the archetype of drive and courage and get out there and get it done, is completing its final round with the sun, coming into its synodic union, where it will be reborn. And so there is this it is in a state of debilitation right now, a state of weakness. And so we can think of the archetype of Mars as not having a lot of clarity around its sense of motivation. And yet the interesting thing about Mars is that once action has taken place, that's when clarity starts to come through the archetype of Mars. The archetype of Mars gains clarity through action, different from the archetype of Mercury, who gains clarity through analysis. So that is something that's really interesting. We're talking about oil being the motivator, and that may be what we're coming into clarity about now, but that doesn't necessarily mean that was explicitly what it was about going into it. And I don't know if we'll ever know the true motivation going into it. There seems to be so many different conflicting viewpoints that, it's hard to know exactly what they are. Some people are saying, oh, it's to hide from, it's to distract from the Jeffrey Epstein files. Except for this took months of planning, and the law around the Epstein Transparency Act happened in November, and all this planning was already taking place. They were already moving troops in there. And so that can't really be it either. In fact, the way that these planets line up, it almost looks like the staff astrologer at the White House elected this day to take this action, elected this moment in time. And I don't know who which astrologer is advising Trump or somebody at the White House. But this looks like a very elected chart when you look at the planets and their placements and the significations of it. Yeah. So anyways, that was the Rachel Maddow video and statement. I have a bunch of other charts that I wanted to take a look at and show you. I don't know that I have time right now. I've got to run, but I have the capture charts, the decision charts. I have the several different transiting charts. I have different countries that I've done some comparison on, and I think that they all have some pretty significant relevance. And so this is just kind of, I guess, say tune in, and maybe in the days to come, I'll be able to pop up a video about some of those charts. But yeah, right now I've got about 5 or 6 more charts that I'd like to show and talk about some of the planetary placements, just point them out because it's so absolutely fascinating, the planetary placements. And when we start bringing in other countries, it's really difficult to think that this was, I mean, if this was an accidental chart, it's so synchronistic, it's just shocking. And if it was elected, you just have to wonder who was advising the White House on electing this chart. It's just very, very stark, the archetypal placements. So sign up for my class at Synchronicity University, synchronicityuniversity.com/Ryan Hunt. And also, if you're interested in following the shorts on my channel, be sure to go to my other channel, Astrology by Ryan Shorts, all one word, Astrology by Ryan Shorts, and subscribe there, and you'll be able to watch the shorts that I'm going to start putting out. I think I've got, I schedule those, for like several weeks in advance, actually. So I think that on this channel, shorts will probably continue to roll for another several weeks. But, any new shorts that I start to schedule, I'll start putting those onto the other channel. So eventually I'll die off putting the shorts on this channel, and eventually the shorts will be on the other channel, and this will be just for long form content. So take a look at that. In the description below, you can find links to book a reading with me at my website and to my other social media projects, faithmeetsfate.com, findyournova.com, marketwatchingthemoon.com. So feel free to find me and follow me anywhere and track my work. Book a consultation if you're interested in doing some ongoing work. I do mentoring, tutoring in astrology. I do life coaching and career coaching. So, and I work with psychedelic intention and integration processes. So head on over there and to my website, take a look. And until next time, keep your eye on the sky and make a wish upon the stars.